So a question I've been asked many times over the last couple of years is how I create my traditional bows using multiple ribbons. To a designer, it seems quite easy, but from the perspective of a consumer, the bows look quite complicated. You know, there's ribbons of different colors, yet it's all uniform and pretty concise and contained. So what I thought we would do today is demonstrate how to create a traditional bow using multiple ribbons, and what better ribbons than gingham for spring and summer. So we have a red gingham ribbon, which is also kind of a picnic tablecloth print, and we also have that same ribbon in yellow. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by dropping our rolls of ribbon to the floor. That way they're clear and we have plenty of ribbon to work with. So we're going to run a couple yards and we're just going to take our roll of ribbon and drop it to the floor. So if this is your first time creating a traditional bow with multiple ribbons, I encourage you to pick 2 ribbons that are the same width. It's a lot easier to contain within your hands if they're both the same width, and the likelihood of you losing any of the loops are greatly reduced if you're using the same width. So what we're going to do first is we're going to place them on top of each other and simply create a single loop. So this is up to you, however large you want to create your bow. If you're designing it for a smaller wreath or a smaller swag, of course make them a little bit smaller. But here we're making them about 6 inches long. So in total we'll have about a 12-inch bow. And now what we're going to do is double that up. So we created one loop, and now we're just going to flip it over and create a second loop. Also, I want you guys to keep in mind, this is double the amount of ribbon that you typically would create to create a single traditional bow. Even though the loops are placed on top of each other, don't let that confuse you, because when you open them up, you'll have double the amount of loops on either side. So even though we have 2, in actuality, we actually have 4 loops, because we have 2 of the red and 2 of the yellow on either side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ribbon in the middle, exactly where we're holding it, and pinch it, so that the red side in this case is facing up, like that. And then when you gather them in the middle again, the yellow side is revealed once more. So basically we're completely twisting the ribbon around to the side that we don't want showing, and then when we gather it again together in the middle, they're equal. So since we are creating a traditional bow, I encourage you guys to make them as close in size as possible, especially if you're just starting out. If you feel more comfortable measuring them out, by all means you can certainly do so. But once you get the hang of it, these bows are extremely easy to create. There's no difference truly between this and a single ribbon bow. But people just get confused because they see 2 different ribbons contained within one bow. So again, we're going to twist, gather again. And the amount of loops depends on what kind of bow you're trying to create. If you're trying to create a more airy, open bow, less loops. That way you can incorporate greenery and florals around the loops. But if you're trying to create a stately bow that might be placed directly in the middle of a wreath, I encourage you to do more loops. So keep pinching in the center, twisting completely around, and gathering. Sometimes your loops will get a little separated, and that's okay as long as they're roughly the same size. So we're going to be doing 5 loops on either side. So in total, we'll have 10 loops on either side and 20 loops in total. Pinch, twist, gather. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1 more to create. Pinch, twist, and gather. Notice that they're kind of going in their own direction, and that's perfectly fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut about a ½ inch of an overhang, and that's just in case our pipe cleaner gets loose. By having that little leverage, in case the pipe cleaner gets a little loose, we still have a little leeway so our bow doesn't go completely apart. So now what we can do is just take a length of ribbon. In this case, I'm not measuring, but I'd say at least for this size bow, at least 12 inches hanging down on either side. Just like that. And now we'll just place these loops, the tails that we just created, behind all of the loops, and we'll take one pipe cleaner. And also a good tip is to always match your pipe cleaner to whatever ribbon you're working with, whatever mesh. If you're working on a grapevine and you're doing florals, I encourage a green or a brown pipe cleaner. But make sure you twist it at least 3 or 4 times from behind. That way it's secure. And now what we can do is we can pull our tails forward and begin pulling apart our loops. So typically, it's easier to design once it's on your final project, whether it be a swag, a wreath, a lantern swag, you name it. It's a lot easier to open them up when it's attached, but in today's case, we'll just fluff it by hand. So now what we do, now that we separated some of the loops, what we can begin doing is actually opening them up. So what I do is I don't really have a method, I just pull them apart and try to balance the colors. So since we pulled a yellow down this way, we'll pull a yellow up top. And just keep repeating that pattern, trying not to have 2 colors side by side. So since we pulled a yellow down, we'll pull a red down now. Since we have a yellow over here, we'll pull the red over there, and vice versa. Okay. So now that we have them opened up, what we can do now is do another fluff job just by running our fingers through the ribbons, opening them up, straightening them out. Find our pipe cleaners in the back. And there we have it. And like I said before, it's a lot easier to begin fluffing them once it's attached to the final product. But these are great standalone bows, so if you guys do sell bows, or even if you don't, I encourage you guys to begin selling some of them because you can have a significant profit. We did sell these rolls of ribbon on my Etsy last year, and unfortunately they sold out, but I believe we sold them $15 with shipping or somewhere around that area for a 50-yard spool. The red one, we didn't sell the yellow one, but both of these are about $10 or so on craftoutlet.com as well as Trendy Tree, and a little goes a long way. We maybe have about 4 yards of each, if that, so, you know, in all honesty, we could probably make at least 10 bows from each roll. And all day long, I'd be able to sell these for about $15 to $18. So there is a significant increase in price and a significant profit margin if you do begin selling these, which I highly encourage you to do so. These look great on mailboxes, they look great on fence posts, lamp posts, you name it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys learned something new today. A very easy technique, basically the same thing as a single loop traditional bow, which I do have a tutorial on showing you guys how to create that. But I say give it a shot and let me know what you guys think. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you all in the next video.